Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to talk about specialists in Black Ops 3, and I've got some unique insights for you because I was able to sit down and play these specialists. I played every single one of them. I used all of their weapons, abilities, moves, tested it out, counter abilities, everything, and got a sort of unique press briefing. So got a lot of unusual information here, and this is probably the craziest thing that I have to talk about or reveal in regards to Black Ops 3. So specialists are new characters that you can select for multiplayer. They have customization, guns, abilities, all sorts of stuff. And the idea came actually from Black Ops 1. You really need to know the history of this for it to make sense. In Black Ops 1, if you don't remember, when you picked Flak Jacket, you were a big beefy guy with a flak jacket, or if you had a sniper, you had a ghillie suit, or if you had lightweight, each different perk, your main perk, your big one, would change how you look, so that like if your flak jacket guy deflected a grenade, you could see, oh, he had flak jacket, that makes sense. Or if you could see it, you wouldn't throw a grenade at him. Same kind of thing, like if you see a sniper, you know you can rush him because he probably has a pistol, something like that. And it was a visual cue to gameplay, which is not something that has been in that much in Call of Duty. It's probably more in Black Ops 1 than anything else. And the specialists are like a super major extension of that system, and it also adds a kind of minor class system within Black Ops 3. Before each multiplayer match, you pick a specialist soldier. Each one of these guys looks different, they have different moves, different abilities, and all of this is reflected in the game. You will look different depending on which specialist you are, so that when people see you, they know what to expect. But you're stuck with the specialist for the whole map. You don't get to change specialist mid-map. You don't get to, once the game starts, you're kind of locked in with that character that you've chosen. Now, you still get your creative class and all that sort of stuff, but you're locked in with your ability or special weapon and how you look and all that sort of stuff. And each one allows you to have either an ability or a gun, but you cannot have both. They can, at either different times in the map, either call in a really big, powerful, nice gun, or use a unique special ability. But again, you cannot choose both. You either have to pick the ability or the gun when you pick the specialist. I found that depending on the specialist, it depended on the game mode. Like some of them had an ability that worked really well for capture the flag, but a weapon that worked really well for team deathmatch, just kind of depended. And you activate this special ability by hitting both of the bumpers on the consoles, or if you're on PC, you can tap Z. It was kind of cool that PC was included. We have all the controls there, nice and labeled. And I wanted to make it clear that you still load in with all your creative class stuff. You're not trading in your weapons, you're not trading in perks, you're not trading in anything else. You still load in just like a normal Call of Duty game. You choose your guns, you choose your perks, your loadouts, your customization, all of that sort of stuff. And it's pretty straightforward, except your core charges slowly over time, and this kind of reminds me of Titanfall a little bit, how your Titan core would charge up. It's faster if you do stuff. If you sit in the back corner of the map, if you do nothing, if you kill nobody, if you capture no flags, no objectives, no anything, it's going to charge very, very slowly. It's not going to be very useful. If you kill a lot of people, if you capture flags, if you hold the hard point, it's going to do faster. I'm going to say you're going to get about 1 core per game if you do nothing. That means if you do absolutely nothing, you can use your gun or your ability about once per game. If you're working really hard, you're going to get between 2 and 4 per game, just depending on your personal performance. Most of the time, I get 3 per game. The guns tend to charge a little bit slower than the abilities. Abilities, this is just a pure balancing thing. This could change. The guns just cost more for whatever reason. Probably because you actually kill people. Not many of the abilities actually kill anybody. So that makes sense. I was running more abilities than I was weapons, so I was able to use them a little bit more frequently. I think the most I ever got was 4 in a single game, and that was like a 15-minute domination game, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the guns and abilities can be saved once the core is full. Once the core is full, there's not a countdown timer. You don't have to use it. You can just save it until you need it, and there's no loss of charge when you die. If you're halfway charged and you die, you're going to respawn halfway charged. If you get a full core and it's saved and you died 10 times in a row, it's still going to be saved. However, once you turn it on, there's no going back. If you turn on your core and somebody kills you, that's just too bad. You lose it. If you turn on your core and you don't get to use it, if there's no enemies near you, if you waste it, that's too bad. No takebacks. And I've had this happen to me a couple of times. I tried to use an ability, or I broke out my big favorite awesome minigun, got shot in the back of the head, nothing I could do about it, completely gone. And as for how strong these are, I talked to the developers and they explained it. They want it to be a power that is between that of your normal gun and your kill streak. If you think about on the very low end of the power spectrum, your regular assault rifles, your guns, your abilities, your foot soldiering is is probably on the lowest end of the power spectrum in the game, whereas the big kill streaks and the awesome stuff is on the high end. Obviously, they're more valuable than just one guy with a gun. These are somewhere in between. They're not as good as kill streaks. I would take a kill streak over one of these abilities or guns pretty much anytime. Now that I've described how they work, let me talk to you about the specialists just a little bit. There are currently 9 of them that are going to launch with the game. That might change. There might be a little more, a little less. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more with DLC, but there's 9 right now. We got to play 4, and we got backstories for 4. It's kind of weird because you get backstories for each one of these guys. And also, I should also probably make it clear that they're customizable. Like, you have the base model, but you unlock different armors, cosmetics, and stuff, kind of like an Advanced Warfare or Ghost. Obviously not as much because you can't change it too much or it won't look like the right model and you won't have that visual connection or what to expect, but there is some degree of customization. So the first specialist is a guy named Callsign Reaper, named Donnie Walsh. He was a volunteer for cybernetic enhancement. His story is that he was raised in a military family in a poor neighborhood. He got in fights all the time, headstrong, crazy, volunteered for infantry, and he volunteered for cybernetic enhancement. The vast majority of cybernetic soldiers, according to this story, are people that have been injured, they've been blown up, they've been shot, they have to do this, they're desperate for money. He did it because he wanted to be better at killing people. He's a really crazy, weird kind of guy. His ability is gravity spikes. They kind of look like oversized Bowie knives, except yellow and not sharp. And it's an area of effect insta-kill when he uses them. He jumps into the air, takes both spikes, and stabs them in the ground dramatically, and it hits the ground and makes a little gravity wave, kind of like a ripple all around your character. You can actually see the ground go poof, 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 and all the smoke move out. Anybody touching the ground in that is going to die. If you jump, if you get really high above it, it's not going to hurt you. It's kind of like an area of effect insta-kill, and it actually reminds me a lot of the Titan from Destiny. When you slam, you really slam, and it really hurts. Balance side of that is you're not going to get this more than about once a game, and you can see him, like when he does it. He's this big dramatic jump. You can shoot him midair and cancel it, but it's been pretty fun for clearing out hard points. His ability is called Overcharge. It's kind of like Exo Overclock on steroids, or Lightweight Supreme. This guy is like the Flash. You're going to be moving at about double or triple movement speed for about 3 seconds. You get 3 seconds of absolute insane speed bursts to zip across the map and do whatever it is that you want to do. A little bit hard to control. It runs out really, really quickly. We mostly used it for capture the flag. When I got on a flag, when I grabbed the enemy flag, time to overcharge and just zip out of there as fast as I can. That one you'll get maybe twice per map. The next character we're going to talk about is Callsign Reaper, real name Cincin. She's the daughter of a Singaporean Chinese triad, so she's Singaporean Chinese. That's actually part of the campaign story too, a lot of stuff in Singapore. Her father is a triad, and she was kind of self-volunteered for cybernetic enhancement because the guy wanted to make his daughter an enforcer. She's known as being crazy, unflinching, disciplined, I guess a little bit more Asian stereotype, but that's okay. She's a bad guy, actually kind of like evil person here. Her weapon is called the Annihilator. This is by far the favorite weapon of the ones that people chose. It is a massive one-shot kill hand cannon. It's a revolver. It shoots huge bullets. The Cincin or Seraph has one fully cybernetic arm, not a scrap of flesh, and it's got all these kind of compensators and stuff in it so that she can aim it and not really help anybody else can because it kicks so bad. And as of right now in the current balancing, it's a one-shot kill at any range. It has 6 rounds, but it has no auto aim. It has no sticky aim, no aim assist, no aim lock, none of that. You have to do it all manually, but it works pretty well, and it's not that hard to use. Most of the developers actually decided that this one's probably too strong. They're considering nerfing it. They're deciding maybe we should scale back the range, maybe we should add sway, maybe we should do something to it. But we played a pre-alpha. A lot of rough stuff in this one. One-shot kill hand cannon. Her ability is a weird one. I personally didn't use it because it didn't seem too useful, especially not against other YouTubers and like really good players. It's called Combat Focus. It gives you essentially double score streak points for a certain amount of time. Score streaks are back. We probably know that already. It's kind of like, what's that perk? Hardline, but on steroids. You literally like doubling or tripling, but it only lasts for like 5 or 10 seconds. So the smarter players, what they do when they know they're about to capture a flag or rush a hard point or something where they'll get a lot of kills, they'll turn it on very briefly and then they'll go ham in the hard point and turn what would be 300 points into 1200 and earn a kill streak. Again, I personally didn't use this because it's too high risk, high reward for me. but some people did. I don't know if they made any use out of it, but again, if you die, it's gone. The next specialist we're going to talk about is called Callsign Outrider, real name Cassandra. She is a Brazilian Special Forces agent. She grew up poor in the streets of the favela, running across the cheap rooftops, pickpocketing, all that sort of stuff. Volunteered for Special Forces later on, and she's a little bit more of an assassin. She likes to hang back and shoot people. She has one of the most fun-looking weapons in the game. Unfortunately, it doesn't play very well. It's been nerfed recently, or so I've heard. It's a Sparrow compound bow. If you think about this as kind of like a really advanced bow like you see hunters using, except it's also got explosive arrows on it, so it's kind of like the crossbow, or maybe kind of like Rambo. It's really, really strong if you hit. Again, this one has no auto aim, no aim assist, no sticky aim, no nothing, but you can draw the bow back really far because you're a cyborg, and when you hit somebody, the arrow hits them so hard that it actually picks up their body, and their body continues with the arrow until they hit a wall, and when they hit a wall, they burst into giblets. They explode. We're not talking like an explosion and then the ragdoll falls to the ground. I'm talking like a real blood and guts, heart, liver, legs, arms, head, just black, like splatters everywhere. Big mess. And you can also push the body into another person. So like when two people are side by side, you can hit the first person and the arrow will carry the body and thus the explosive all the way to the second person, nail them, blow them up, and kill both of them. I find this to be very difficult to use because of the way the auto aim was balanced. I couldn't hit people very well. It's a very specialty kind of weapon like the crossbow. The explosive radius on it isn't very huge. I definitely did get kills spamming a hard point pretty effectively with it. But it's most effective when you hit somebody. It's really more like a one-hit kill bow with a really dramatic kind of after effect that you don't really get that many double kills. The ability I did not use. I saw other people use. I didn't find it to be that valuable because we weren't playing Search and Destroy, but it's called Vision Pulse. It allows you to see through walls for a short period of time. It's a lot like the UAV threat detection in Advanced Warfare, how that kind of periodically scans and you get like the red outlines of people through the walls, except you get to pulse once. We played crazy, chaotic, aggressive modes where this wouldn't be very useful, but in something like Search and Destroy, this would be really, really useful to be able to vision pulse once and just see where your enemies are for that instant, and that is her ability. Didn't really use it that much, but now let's talk about my personal favorite. This is the one I liked. This is the one a lot of people liked other than Cincin with her one-shot kill pistol, but it's for different reasons than most people. This one's called Callsign Reaper. Callsign Reaper has no real name because Callsign Reaper is not a person or even a he. It is an experimental war robot, and this one has one of the weirdest stories. This experimental war robot was a government/military R&D project designed to kind of replace the soldiers on the ground and make the deadliest, nastiest killing machine humanly possible. There were two problems with this. Number one, it was extremely expensive, and like a lot of extremely expensive government programs, it's always on the verge of being shut down. Number two is that it was a little bit too good at killing. It was actually kind of scary and absurdly effective, but it's a machine. No morals, no intelligence, no decision making. It just kind of kills everything. When the big leak happened, which is part of the story that will happen later, it was a huge embarrassment for the government. People hated it. They rioted. They rebelled. It was a big mess. So the project got canceled, and every single one of these robots got scrapped. They got turned in, recalled, destroyed, except for Reaper. Reaper went rogue. Reaper had a little bit of his own AI, something special, a little spark here and there. He decided to escape and live, and Reaper now makes his own kind of living as a mercenary. You don't get any extra health as this robot, same health as a normal person, no animations, no special nothing, still swimming, just a different kind of cool look. He kind of looks like a Reaper. His weapon is called the Scythe. It's essentially the death machine from Black Ops 2. You actually transform your arm into a minigun. When you call it in, you stick your left arm up, it like bust open Transformer style, and this big minigun comes out, and it is the death machine. You just walk around hosing people with your arm until you're out of bullets or out of time because you're using a core ability. Really cool, really popular, deadly, killed a lot of people with it, but that's not why I like Reaper. I really don't care about getting a death machine. Personally, I'd be happier with the one-shot kill pistol. It's his ability that really makes this character unique, and it actually reminds me a lot of Overwatch and the character, I forget which, the yellow girl that everybody likes in Overwatch. This ability is called Glitch, and it's a funny name for a game. You have the glitch ability, but it allows you to travel backwards in time for 3 seconds or for a set distance. You can only go so far away from your current position or wherever you were 3 seconds ago. It does not reset health or ammo, but it's called Glitch because part of the story is that in multiplayer in Black Ops 2, you may or may not actually be there playing. It may just be a simulated combat experience where people respawn because they're literally playing a combat simulation in a video game, and Reaper, because he's not the nicest robot, likes to cheat or hack or whatever, so his ability is glitch. So like, if you rush into a room, there's 3 people in there, they turn on you, you know you're gonna die, you tap the bumpers, and you will instantly teleport back to where you were a couple of seconds ago. This ability is probably the hardest one to use because your timing has to be flawless. You can die pretty fast in this game, just like any Call of Duty game. You can get shot in the head, you can blow up, you can just, you know, all sorts of things can happen. But if you see a bad situation, if you get shot once and you sneak around a corner, if you know something bad is going to happen, you can use this glitch ability and back yourself up just a few steps and save yourself. Something kind of fun if you have crazy reaction time. If somebody shoots you in the back and they miss a shot, so you actually have time to react, you can actually use this to snap yourself and walk and kind of like pop up behind them and kill them. My personal favorite, a little bit slow on the charge, very, very tactical, very, very deadly, absolutely loved it. I was super happy with it. I made some really nice plays with it. One of my favorite ones was there was a hard point with 3 people in it. I used all of the thrust abilities to zip and slide into the hard point as fast as I could, chunked a Simtex in there, at really point-blank suicide range, where either the Simtex would kill me or the people would. They shot me twice, I used a glitch, and it just snapped me back to the other side of the wall. Boom, all 3 of them are dead, hard points mine. Very cool. Guys, that's all for this video. I know this was a super long video, but I thought it was important to get out there and explain all of the specialists in Black Ops 3. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.